Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being a part of our Veterans Day program. My name is Dr. Karen Reed Hendon, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It is a privilege for me to celebrate and honor our military veterans who have served on this day with all of you. For those that may not know the history of the day, Veterans Day is a national holiday that originally began as Armistice Day on November 11th, honoring all members of the United States Armed Services. It coincides with other holidays around the world, including Remembrance Day, marking the end of World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. In 1954, Congress passed the bill that President Eisenhower signed, officially changing the name to Veterans Day to honor all military veterans. And it is my pleasure to be able to show that support to our veterans by showcasing a veteran that is also doing his part to serve his military family through his work in community service and activism. I'd like to introduce everyone to Travis Peters, owner of Green Thumbs Consulting Incorporated and Project Peace Peddlers. Thank you so much for joining us today. Happy Veterans Day to you, Travis.
Thank you, Dr. Karen. I am honored to have served this great nation, and I am humbly honored that you asked me to be a part of this Lawrence Tech University's Veterans Day interview. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So in the spirit of full transparency, I've known Travis for a couple of years now, I think 3 years. It's been a while.
Yes.
It's been a while. So fun fact, he and I are both dancers, and that's how we met. We met on the dance floor. And so Travis was using dance as a way of therapy for himself.
Yes.
And for myself,
yes.
I just love to dance. So it just became this opportunity where we just were able to sync, and we have been friends ever since. So I am doubly honored that you're doing this solid for me.
Yes. Now, I don't know about me being a dancer. I'm a novice. Maybe you're the dancer. but we do give a great effort, and I love it.
Yes, we do.
Yes, the people, the therapy is awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to just ask a couple of questions just to begin to kick off this conversation, not just about your service, but also your organization. So,
okay.
So you're originally from Detroit, right?
Yes. Born and raised Detroit, West Side. I grew up 4 blocks away from and 4 years after where the riots began in 1967. I grew up on Claremont Street. Yeah, wow. Born in 1971.
Wow. So that's a really interesting piece of historical context for all of this.
Yeah.
So what high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Detroit Central High School in that neighborhood. Yeah. Okay. I played in the marching band, dabbled in the baseball, loved baseball, but marching band is where I found my love. A military recruiter came in and spoke to the class, and he said, adventure, travel the world, and earn college money. And my hand shot up like a rocket. I wanted to just get out of Detroit. Yeah. Okay. That was the dream.
Okay. And so you said there was a recruiter that came to the class, and what branch of the military was that?
That was the Army.
That was
the Army. He just spoke on, I think back when I was growing up, the commercials were, the Army commercials were big, all that you could be.
That's right.
And that really rung a bell. I didn't earn the grades to get a scholarship, and my parents didn't have that income to for college affordability. Didn't want to stay in Detroit, do community college, so I thought the military would be that road. And I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, but the adventure, the people, the places I went to, the learning experiences, the discipline, the knowledge, I wouldn't trade it for the world. The camaraderie, not at all. I wouldn't toss that.
Okay. And
It,
how long were you in the
yeah,
military? How
I
long were you
served
before
four
Army?
years.
How
I'm
many
sorry,
years?
4 years active duty. And after my honorable discharge, I came back to Detroit and served 4 years at the 314th Military Intelligence Battalion. I completed my 8-year obligation of, your contract. You sign up for 4, but you're obligated for 8. And I chose the individual ready reserve when I left the active Army.
Okay. 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 So you were in the military during the time of Operation Desert Storm?
Yes, Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Yes, I
Okay.
was um, I was here in Detroit on a pass, and I got the call that I had to report within 24 hours, or I would be considered AWOL. And
Oh,
we deployed to Saudi Arabia in October of 1990. Wow, it's 30 years right now. Isn't that something? Wow,
wow.
yeah, literally 30 years ago, I was getting acclimated to the Arabian desert. Wow, that just really hit me. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, October 1990 through April of 1991. Yeah,
Wow. I can only
yeah,
imagine the toll that that took on your family, you being active duty overseas in Saudi Arabia
yeah,
during Operation Desert Storm.
yes. So, and during that 6-month tour, that experience is where a lot of the I wish I hadn't served in the military comes about. That's where the coming home and being reacclimated into society, where it's hard to communicate with people. They don't understand you. So kind of like what dance came in. We can express ourselves through dance. I know that's jumping the hoop, but um, yeah, Desert Storm took its toll on me somewhat mentally and a lot of other people. Yeah.
Sure. So my
Hmm.
my stepfather is a Vietnam vet, and
Okay.
he came back with a severe case of PTSD, and he still
Yeah.
finds himself, still being challenged by the
Yes.
impact of the Vietnam War. And I
Yes.
can only imagine that you had something of a similar experience with PTSD and
Yes.
making that
Yes.
return back. But out of
Yes.
PTSD, you've had what's called post-traumatic growth because you were able to do a number of things. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about what that experience was after you were honorably discharged, you're back, and you're like, okay, now what?
Well, I got back. I interviewed with UPS. I got on immediately as a driver. My experience driving very heavy equipment in the military, driving a UPS truck was pretty easy. I was hired in full time in 1994. I worked there for 19 years. In 2010, UPS great job because it allowed me to be by myself. When I made a delivery, mm,
Take your time, man.
pardon me.
No, you're good. You're good.
Mm, wow. It was um, it was hard to talk to people, and being on the UPS truck, it allowed me to be by myself. And when I did have to speak to people, or it was just roughly a 2-minute conversation dealing with the job. I didn't have to be personal too much, if you get what I'm saying, because being personal, I found myself being, you were looked at funny, because when you begin to talk about your experiences, you were deemed crazy or no one would understand. Now, understand, I was turned away from the VA too. So it's like, you had nobody to turn to. So these type of things lead our veterans to that number you may hear tossed around, 22 a day that commit suicide. So I refuse to be in that number. Pardon me, I'm speaking about some things that I've never shared with anyone.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
Some of the whys. But being on the UPS truck, I had some physical disabilities, and I suffer from Gulf War syndrome. It's I come under the severest of migraines, dizziness spells, nausea, and vomiting spells, and it still goes on. It's ongoing, rather, and that began to play a part in my attendance on the job. You know, and it began to sever the tie where, well, you don't like this job. No, I love this job. I got a high school education. There's an awesome benefit package here, medical, dental, educational reimbursement. The salary is awesome. The vacations are great. You know, yes, I love this job, but I can't physically and mentally keep up with the pace because of what I experienced in the military. No one understood that. So eventually I lost that job and I couldn't find my way. So that took me to Green Thumbs Consulting. Not wanting to live under a viaduct or live in a shelter. I wanted to reboot myself. A lot of veterans go through experiences and with the military that these the veterans programs don't reach. And I was one of those veterans. Those programs just wouldn't reach me. They couldn't reach my situation. So I created Green Thumbs Consulting with the Project Peace Pillars in mind as a bike riding program. That's a way to get veterans together still. Being able to get exercise for anxiety and depression. Bike riding is a proven therapy for that, for PTSD, and a lot of things that stress towards the PTSD or the ailments that come with that. The Green Thumbs Consulting, we thought of gardening. Gardening is a way to, and horticulture is a way to alleviate some of the symptoms of PTSD. It gives veterans a sense of accomplishment, a sense of belonging as well, a sense of grounding, you know, being in tune with the earth and being outdoors. Those type of things. So I was looking for more of an organic, holistic approach to therapy because I didn't want to do things that led towards suicidal ideations, such as they'll pump you full of opioids and synthetic medicines that lull you into a state of reclusiveness and seclusion and isolation. If you can understand, almost like this COVID situation that we've been forced to live under. If you understand what I mean, I hope I'm not rambling on and I'm
you're good.
On topic.
You're good.
Okay, yeah, but I'm just giving you the gist of what I went through. And so what I would begin to do is go out and speak to vets about
Okay.
their situations in a real organic nature. And this is no disrespect to the people that work in the veteran service organizations. But if you speak to a lot of veterans, they'll tell you that it's pretty cookie cutter when you get to those organizations. They're black and white. They have a manual that they go by, a template. They don't get down to the nitty gritty of, hey man, where did you serve? Or, you know, hey ma'am, where did you serve? You know, what experiences did you have? Did you go through this? Did you go through that? Did you take the PB pills, the anti-nerve agent pills that they don't know what effect they had on us? Are you experiencing anything like that? Were your children born with these crazy birthmarks, or do they have all their digits? You know, those questions, they don't ask those questions like that. See, so I ask those questions. Those questions spark a deeper conversation and a concern and a deeper interest. It took me over 11 years, 9 months to get the benefits that I earned, not the handout, not the welfare, not the bread line, not that, but the benefits that have been set in place since the end of the Civil War, since Abraham Lincoln's administration input these benefits in place for veterans that return from war. One included having a deed, a paper to a home, but administrations have watered that down and made that a challenge for our veterans. So that's why a lot of people ask, how can the veterans be homeless? I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
And there's so many obstacles for veterans to get their benefits. So the obstacles that I endured, the stop signs that came in front of me, I have the blueprint to navigate that, and that helped start Green Thumbs Consulting. You know, I know how to not to slick my way around, but I know the questions to ask. I know who to see. I know where to go, what to avoid. I've been down the rabbit hole.
Right. Okay.
For the people, you know. So I don't want another veteran to suffer what I suffered. I lost my family. I lost job, way of life. I became homeless. Lost a lot, Dr. Ken. And part of me is a burning desire of a continued service, commitment, fulfillment, to not allow any veteran to go that course.
Absolutely.
You know, even if they're right, I'll still ask and have a conversation, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm all set. You know, Uncle Sam is taking care of me. I'm fine. This and that. Okay, great. Pay it forward. Here's my card. If you run into a vet who's having a difficult way, tell them to just call me for a conversation. I may be able to reinvigorate them or ignite their passion to pursue that. You know, I had an uncle. He fought in Vietnam, and he did a lot for this country. I mean, a lot. And he never received any benefits. He died very young. Died in the 60s. He died over 10 years ago. My uncle was in his 60s, and he died of brain cancer. He was in the 1st Infantry Division. Served in Big Red 1. The Big Red 1 was known, this may be an unknown fact for a lot of people. The Big Red 1 was one of the first infantry divisions where for a long time, Black soldiers couldn't carry arms or fight. But the 1st Infantry Division was one.
Experiencing just a little bit of technical difficulty. Okay, so you were really getting into it about what was happening with your uncle and just his experiences and your experiences. And I am floored, but at the same time, I'm not surprised just because of the way that we hear about the statistics, learning about the number of suicides that take place
Yes.
for a person that is served. You know, we're learning more and more about what is it, Wounded Veterans of America. So we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about all of this, but I really want to get into the nitty gritty of Green Thumbs. You had just started really getting into
Okay.
it when we
Yeah.
kind of got cut off.
So, okay. So Green Thumbs, it's a basic training, holistic, organic approach to sustainability for military veterans and their families. That's pretty much it. The military took me and turned me into a sustainable fighter or a service person in 8 weeks. So I use the same step-by-step block method of instruction, the same basic training. That's the idea. Not beating anyone over the head with anything. Um, I'm just being candid. You know, the veterans, I'm speaking from my experience as a veteran for 12 years, going back and forth to the VA, trying to explain things to people, trying to tie things up, trying to, wow, why does it take so long for you to get my service records?
Yeah.
Why are you telling me that when I bust my ankles up climbing on and off trucks, um, that's not a claimable a fact or a claimable issue when it harmed me or it began to deteriorate my job performance at UPS? You know, how do you do that? Those little discouraging things like that, Karen. Um, the basic training approach starts with a conversation. I ask a veteran, where did you serve? Did you experience any injuries, illnesses? Veterans that served in, say, the Marines and went to basic training at Camp Lejeune, they had a water contamination issue from the 1940s up through the 70s. So if you served there, remember, this is the water that the food was prepared with, you showered and bathed, and you drank, you brushed your teeth, you did that. So you think there's a possibility that these veterans will have some long-term effect?
That sounds a lot like what the citizens of the city of Flint experienced.
Exactly. Yes, yes. So Vietnam veterans that served in country, a lot of them don't know they have what's called a brown water zone. So if you were in the Navy or the Air Force or even the Coast Guard played a big part in the Vietnam War, if you were beyond what's considered brown waters, these were waters that actually pretty much touched the coastline, the rivers and waterways that led to the ocean outlets and whatnot. You were deemed in country. Now that has expanded to what's called the blue water zone. So because that area that was sprayed with herbicides and pesticides, Agent Orange, chemicals here and there's been a determination that those same veterans that were almost 12 miles out to sea, they came down with the same symptoms that veterans who were actually inland and from the brown water zones inwards.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So you are really trying to make sure that this is a no man, no woman, no person left behind with you creating Green Thumbs Consulting. So you have a number of different projects that are a part of Green Thumbs Consulting. So you have Project Green Machine, you have Project Seeds, Servicemen's Empowerment Enrichment Drive. You have Project Peace Peddlers.
Yes.
And you just started Green Boots.
Yes.
Okay.
That's our horticulture garden.
So that's your horticulture gardening. Okay, so I really want to hear a lot more about what you're doing with Project Seed, because this one has a specific connection to the city of Detroit, and
Yes.
with Home Depot and Detroit
Yes.
Land Bank. So how did
Yes.
you come up with Project Seed?
So after I lost that job with UPS, I kept getting turned away from the VA. I had no way of raising any income for myself, any
Mhm.
livable wage type of income. So I um, fell back on something I used to do. My dad was a master wet plaster for over 30 years. So he would just ask me, hey, come paint this for me. I can't get anyone to paint. And painting after my father's work, I would be held to a real high standard.
Mhm.
And I fell back on that. I knew how to wet plaster. I didn't like it because it was very dirty job, and wearing the mask was traumatic for me because I had to wear a chemical mask. So
Sure.
that's another story. So I don't do that, and the dirt that's accumulated with it. I fell back on that, doing light plaster work and painting as a way that I can lift myself up by the bootstraps and earn a
Okay.
decent income. I can eat, I can afford my car, my insurance, home, and my children. And I knew a lot of veterans that I would come across in my travels that couldn't pull themselves up. But many of our veterans, they've been trained in the vertical construction. Um,
Okay.
Electrical, carpentry, those are MOSs or military occupation skills that are trained and taught at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Yeah.
That's where the engineering battalions are,
Hmm.
or our engineering department is or division.
Yes.
Um, so I would look for veterans who had skills in that, electricians and things like that, who couldn't hold down a job. They couldn't pass that drug test. See, I can get beyond that
Sure.
because I know I'm connecting with the veteran. I know pretty much why you're on substance or abusing the substance. I know what mental capacity you're at. Hey, if you could tap into those electrical skills, I need you to run these outlets in here. I have someone who happens to be a Marine who is a licensed builder who will come behind your work and make sure it's code compliant. So I have no problem with um, going in the home, making sure the work is licensed or code compliant, because after the work
Very
is
good.
done, I have someone to inspect it. So that fell in line with some land bank homes where a person gave me a number to someone at Home Depot, and they found out I was gardening and had me meet a person and called her friend. She liked what I was doing, and that's where we end up getting a grant for $9,400 from Home Depot, which is on hold because of COVID. They won't send 50 volunteers out
Right.
during the pandemic. But back to Project Seed, um, that was a way that veterans can learn how to bid on jobs, do the work, earn decent income wage, and get a sense of pride back into themselves. And one thing I did, I paid the veterans up front. I didn't make them work and pay them on Friday. I paid them up
Okay.
front. So it built trust. I never had one uh, skip out on me. They came back because I tapped into that honor and valor and dignity. I tapped back
Okay.
into that esprit de corps, back into that decorum. I tap back into that. One thing the military does for most is it ignites a fire in your belly that
Hmm.
that that's never extinguished. So you always find something to do. You all look at a veteran; they're always pretty much trying to find something to do,
You're
trying
right
to
about that.
something to accomplish. Always busy, be it helping people,
Yeah.
some type of project or whatever. Bike riding, motorcycle riding, boating, fishing, hunting. They're always trying to find something to occupy that burning desire, that warrior that was ignited. That.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
pretty much Project Seed right there.
I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. I do.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. And I particularly like the fact that it is you giving back to the city of Detroit, and
Yeah.
you are making sure that uh, those who do the work with Project C can literally see their work just come
Yeah.
into fruition right before their eyes. And that's a huge boost. That's a huge boost of just encouragement when people can see something from start to finish. So that's,
Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
it. That's it.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Hmm.
Okay,
Thank you.
so when you and I met, you were doing a fundraiser, and we were part of a fundraiser for Project Peace Peddlers, and that was something
Yes.
that was put out on
Memorial
I
Day.
think Channel 7 News. I think it like
Yeah.
so you've been on the
Channel.
news with this.
Yeah.
So
I
tell
had
us
a
a little bit about Project Peace Peddlers.
well, Project Peace Peddlers is it's a military-led organization that's partnered with the Detroit Police Department's chief's neighborhood liaison and their bike patrol. So we go out and we ride through the community. We're not responding to any violent crimes or anything like that, but it's a way to get to spark a conversation between the police and the community that
Okay.
usually don't meet, but only under the circumstances of some type of adversarial meeting, where the police are enacting their enforcement of the law, and you're not there as a friend, so to
Right.
speak, and you take that as being a foe almost. So it's a way to present the police. Now, I was I'm being the Peace Peddlers was also a way for me to associate myself with police. I was assaulted by military police, myself and a gentleman named Ernest Marshall. We served in basic training together and met back in Korea. Um, the names George Floyd and Eric Gardner. I know those come to the forefront of you all's minds. We know that those are two Black men that were lives were ended at the hands of police, not by gunshot, but
Right.
by means of suffocation. I uh, know and what they feel. I had that same experience. I was an innocent bystander, and this was about a year after the Rodney King beating had taken place. So
Wow.
this was the environment that I was in. A 21-year-old Black man. I'm in Korea, and some drunk MPs gave it to me and my partner to the fact extent of where I was almost choked to death. So I know what Eric Gardner and George Floyd expressed when they said, I can't
I
breathe, when
can't
they
believe
called out to their creator, when they called out to their mother. I know what it feels like when your life is about to expire. And what makes it oh so hurtful is that I consider myself being in the safest place. I was on a military establishment after coming home from a war.
Yeah.
So I know the firsthand racism that Black men face after putting it on the line for the country, and you come back and fight a whole nother front that I really didn't know existed until that time in Korea. So that police officer experience, it really traumatized me to where
Yeah.
a mere traffic stop would turn into a jostling experience where I had a run-in with Harper Woods Police, Redford Police, and Livonia Police. Now, just where a routine traffic stop turned into an altercation because uh, I snapped into not going to be choked into suffocation or killed. It's not going to happen. So that was something psychologically that I dealt with. I was both afraid and hated white men in authority at that time for what happened to me. I'm not a racist person at all. You know that. It's
Yes.
just something happened to me that when a certain behavior or attitude on the job or wherever was demonstrated towards me, I snapped, and there was no means of help, no one to talk to at the time. So fast forward to Project Peace Pillars was a way to allow not only myself, but other people who had real traumatizing experiences with the police to come together and kick it. And, I have the baseball team that's also sparked out of that as well.
Yep. Which I need to get a jersey. I need to get my baseball jersey.
Just text me your number. I'll get you a jersey.
Yeah.
But yes,
I'm
so
all
Project Peace Pillars, you all is a way, and you got this is a lot of people don't know the why.
Yeah.
Why this bike riding thing? It serves the city. It gives a visible presence of public servitude, but it's also majorly therapeutic.
Yes. 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 And I've
Because
gotten the opportunity to see, many bike riders during the course of the summer that are just doing the slow roll.
yes,
And just it's an amazing sight to see.
yes,
Really, really
yes,
is. So, and I
yes,
particularly am humbled by the fact that that traumatic experience that you had at the hands of police actually moved you to try to make inroads
yep.
so that there's understanding.
We have brunches, breakfasts, dinners, bowling outings. There are car shows. I mean, these are top tier, high echelon type events that the chief's neighborhood liaison puts out to the community, and it's really not too many participate, but it's they're awesome in their efforts to bridge those gaps between the police. I know that I can quote Chief James Craig as saying, anything that we could do to further our veteran community and their relationship with the police, because a lot of veterans, that those that are homeless, some of their only interactions are with the police. Someone has called the police on them for vagrancy or trespassing. So their interaction with the police is pretty somewhat tumultuous and can get out of hand. There's our police department now has a psychiatrist that goes out on calls for not just veterans, but anyone that has there's a psychiatric problem there, so they can be talked down or what have you. So
As
there are a lot
opposed
of
to
little
having a reaction.
yes, 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 yeah.
Okay.
So there
Which
are a
is
lot of
hugely important.
whys. There are a lot of whys, Dr. Karen, into and thought and planning going into these programs. I didn't just wake up and say, hey, let's ride bikes with the police. No,
Right.
there's a lot into that.
Yeah.
There's not throwing out any names, but it caught the attention of a producer of Mitch Albom's Heart of Detroit series, where I had to sit down with Mitch Albom promoting the Peace Pillars.
Okay.
So, really feel good about that, but we need people, to come. We need people to come on out and join us. We won a
Absolutely.
grant. We were awarded a $19,000 grant to purchase trek bikes, helmets, and shirts for any military veteran that wanted to join our ranks and ride with us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know about you, but I find myself speaking to Cindy Spots, who is our Associate Dean of Students. I think we have ourselves a new partnership here. Just saying, just a FYI.
I would definitely agree with that. Thank you so much for this talk today. I can't really talk well because it's just really moved me. Your stories, I love that you've taken some bad experiences and you've turned them into something really wonderful to help other people. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So Travis, I know that we only have a few minutes left and you have to get on to the next thing that you have going, because you're like me, you keep moving. You don't stop moving at all. So is there any piece of advice that you would want to give to any of our students who are also veterans? Any just words of wisdom, any, encouraging thoughts, anything that you'd like to share?
Find someone you can trust outside of your comfort circle. That's hard to do. Just as you join the military and you join circles of people from all walks of life and different backgrounds that you knew nothing about, you can find out that those people can help you. Just like when I joined the dance community.
Yeah.
If you understand.
Yes.
I was able to talk to people and have people in another circle, another walk of life, help me to talk about and live through some of the pain that I suffer from. I would say do that. Be brave and talk about those things. Don't keep them suppressed because it'll hurt you and your immediate loved ones. Yeah, take my mistakes and make them for the better. Please, I would give that advice there. Yeah, don't hold it in.
Okay, I think that's a perfect ending. Travis, thank you so much for spending this time with us.
You're welcome.
I look forward to sharing this with the rest of our LTU community.
Okay, and thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And you all do your best during this virtual college university transition period we're in. Much success to all the students and the staff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, bye. I'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.